This block is called the 9-patch chain. It's 12 inches and it's a very simple block, but I'm going to show you a lot of things you can do with this block. Here is the diagram, and this version here has different colors of purple, and you can do different colors of whatever. The block I'm going to sew today is all scrappy. And here is information on how to make a 9-inch block if you want to make it smaller. And here is what it looks like with 4 blocks put together. Also, you probably noticed on this part, this is what I'm going to call my sampler setting number 1. This is some of the previous blocks we've done. There are 17 of the sampler blocks we've been doing since January 1st. And this is the 9-patch chain in between them. So I have the 9-patch chain on the outer corners, and then they alternate. And this quilt is 5 blocks across and 7 blocks down, and it finishes 60 by 84 inches. So this is one thing you can do with your blocks you've already made, and just make these little 9-patch blocks, these simple 9-patch blocks to put between them. So let's go over the block first. Here is patch A, and it's a 2-inch finished square. So you're going to cut it 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and you need 8 assorted of these. These are the dark blocks you see in the corners and all the way down that make the chain. The next is a 2-inch by 8-inch finished rectangle that you cut 8.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and you need 4 of those. Here is a 2 by 4-inch finished rectangle. So you cut it 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and you also need 4 of these patches. You have an Accuquilt die from the 8-inch cube you can use for the 2-inch finished square. And there isn't an Accuquilt die for the 2 by 8-inch finished rectangle. And there is an Accuquilt die in the 8-inch cube that you can make the 2 by 4-inch finished rectangles. And finally, the 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch cut. It's a 4-inch finished square that goes in the center. Here is the information you need if you want to use this block in a sampler quilt, and it tells you how much fabric you need and how to cut the patches that you need so you can finish this quilt. Hopefully you have already made 17 blocks, and now this is a way to put them together. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a picture of my quilt that I put together. I didn't use blue. I used a different color that I really liked, and I'm still on the fence if I like the finished quilt or not, but I'm going to love the quilt because it's finished. On page 2, you know, I had started including this coloring diagram if you wanted one, and I also included here a full-size quilt if you made just the block and you made all the blocks the same. If we zoom in here, we can see that the colors are going in a diagonal pattern. This is yet another design you could make using this block. Now let's look at the pieces I have. These are the 2-inch squares, and I just got assorted ones. I wanted to make it scrappy so we could see what a scrappy version looked like. This version, you know, is all one colorway, and so I want to see what a scrappy version looks like. Here are the 2.5 inch by 8.5 inch rectangles. Here is the 2.5 inch by 4.5 inch rectangles, and here is the 4.5 inch square that goes in the center. Now I'm just going to put the block together, and how I'm going to do that is I'll put this center block and stitch these 2 small ones on the sides, and then piece 2 of these like this, like that, and like that. Piece these 2, and then you sew these 2 together and these 2 together. And then you just repeat that for the outer one, the sides, and then these you will put your squares on the outside, like that. So the block is really easy to put together, and I'm just going to put it together and show you the finished block. So now here is the block. It's a super simple 9-patch block, and this is the scrappy version. So if you have a bunch of 2.5-inch squares left over, this is perfect to use them for your scrap quilt, and then put whatever you want in the center. Here is the back. It's all pressed open, and the front again. Now next I'm going to show you how I use this block with one fabric, and here is the fabric I used. It's this fabric, and it looks kind of solid from a distance, but I love the color, and I thought it looked good with all the colors that I had in the quilt. It's almost finished. I'm going to use this for the binding once I quilt it. Let me show you that quilt now. So here is the quilt. You see it behind me, and you also see it on the split screen. The colors are prettier in the split screen, but this is my version of the sampler setting #1 using the 9-patch chain block. And I think this is a great block to use to put your sampler pieces, your sampler blocks together. And also it's a great block to use a variety of colors, and as well to use up all your scraps. So it's a really simple block and easy to do, but it has so many different things you can do with it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.